All right, here we are, Impact and Influence Radio right here on iHeart. And today's broadcast is brought to you by Blinds of Sacramento, Sacramento's complete solution window covering experts. Give them a call, 916-790-8689. Vik Saroay, how are you, my friend?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, here, do this for me. Face me so we can just, kind of have a nice, fun conversation.
Will do.
These mics are a lot more tame than the ones that I had in my other studios. So you could bump these ones and they don't go completely crazy, where mine were like nuts.
Sounds good.
Yeah, you touch anything and then, everything went crazy in my studio. So the difference is that these are dynamic mics. My studio was using condenser mics, if you're familiar. So we were using phantom power, and this is all plugged into all the space age equipment now. I don't even know how this thing works.
These sound great.
Yeah, completely different. So you are a tax guy, bookkeeper, and tell me, I mean, obviously we know what tax guys and bookkeepers do, but tell me, what do you do?
All right. So bookkeeping, this one business that I think that a lot of people, when it comes to doing their bookkeeping, they hate it. And guess what? I love it. And that's why I started this business. So what I can tell you just briefly is that bookkeeping, it's a very tedious task, and every business has to do it. But, when it comes to taxes, that's when a lot of things are changing. We get new laws all the time, and it's hard to keep up with what's current. So that's where, we come in and we make sure that every business is in compliance, and, their books are done accurate. So that's kind of the gist of it. It's a very boring business, to be honest.
That's where I was going to go. I want to touch on that.
And I don't want to, if I keep talking, I know one of us will start, falling asleep. But it's a boring business that I love. I love this business. I love talking about it. And I can do this, all day.
So are you an introvert or are you an extrovert?
I'm a little bit of both.
See, that's kind of where I'm at too. I like to be just left alone, sitting in my office, just doing my thing. I think I would actually enjoy that career, honestly. Just sitting there with spreadsheets, calculating, nobody bothering me, listening to my music.
Yeah. That's kind of how you have to be. Like you got to be, on the computer. I mean, that's that's a given. So I guess it is an introverted career. But then, I like to sprinkle in some extrovertedness in there because there's a lot of networking, and I'm sure we'll go into that. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But I would say it's a mixture of both introverted and extroverted personalities.
What's your schedule like in the evenings? Do you have a pretty open schedule?
I do. I like to get most of my work done in the morning, and I'm done with most of my tasks by the afternoon. And then I like to, kind of do some, exercises, things like that, and then get into my evening. And I like to just relax in my evening. I like to spend time with family and just relax.
I mean, the reason I ask is, there's networking events like every night of the week. We've been going to like 2 or 3 a week, and the leads we're getting are just phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're meeting so many great people. You didn't even know these people existed.
Oh no. Yeah. Absolutely. And, appreciate you inviting me to the BBB event.
Thank you for coming out, dude. Yeah. No, super cool. Where did we meet? Did you come out to our open house originally? Is that where we met?
I think we met at another networking event hosted by a chamber.
That's right. That was the one down in Elk Grove.
Yes.
Yes. No, was that your first time at theirs?
That was my first time at that event.
Yeah.
At their event, and that's when I just started going out to networking events, and I'm ran into you and
dude. We go to I'm telling you, we went to one, was it 2 nights ago? Freaking politicians in there.
Oh, wow.
Like legit people, dude. Like real people. Awesome stuff, dude. Just awesome stuff. And so we have one tonight at Bennett's in Rockland, which is a really, really nice restaurant if you're not familiar. So, I mean, I'm expecting it to be good people. Again, no, we've been to, oh God, Frank, in the last month, we've been to 15 of them in the last month. It's awesome. Just awesome.
Great turnout. I mean, one of the things that I think about these networking events is the amount of diversity you get to see with businesses and people that come out. And it's just a great way to network and talk to people. And Personally for me, I know for my business growth, this has been the biggest like influence on
Mhm.
my business.
Mhm.
And it's amazing like how much referrals you can get from each other. And so
So one of the best marketing tools that I've ever it's a concept that I came up with years and years ago. I've written it in my books. So you go to networking events, you go to and you have clients, and you've got these stacks of business cards. Okay, so you and I, we open up a drawer in our desk. We got a stack, you know, 6-8 inches high of just random business cards of people that you've run into. Some of them are in your Rolodex, some of them are not. Some of them are in your database, some of them are not. Some of them are people that you've done business with, some of them are not. The point is, you've got all these business cards. I have the same stack, but they're different people. So I go to you and I say, here's all of my leads, and then you give me all of your leads. And so you just gave me 300 people. I give you another 300 people. And then you start adding them to your database, start sending text messages and saying, hey, Quinn sent me over to you, said that you were a really great guy. I'd love to sit down and do coffee with you.
mm.
And then you go, I'm not sure who Quinn is, but that sounds cool. Yeah, what do you do? Do taxes? Oh, I have a tax guy. Well, yeah, but we still need to know each other. Yeah, okay. And you can determine whether or not it's going to be a good fit or not from there. And you can go get coffee. The point is that turns into future business. It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing with you go to these networking events, and there's some people that are, we call them tire kickers, and it's no disrespect. They're just not ready to do anything yet. But those are our future leaders. Those are the future people that we're looking up to, that those people are going to be looking at the new kids on the block in 5 or 10 or 20 years and go, oh, I remember when I was that, Well, let me show you how I got here. So every single one of us are all working together at different areas, different points in our journey.
So true. That sums up, pretty much what I would say as well. Just real quick, I want to mention the first ever networking event that I went to. They asked us all to create a pitch and pitch, each business. I did not have a pitch ready, but on the spot, I just, started kind of typing in, and I had a pitch ready in about like couple minutes, and I was the first to go up and talk about my business. So I was a guinea pig out there, and went well. And guess what? At the end of the event, I had 2 people that came up to me, and one of them turned into a client. And that was my first ever networking event that I've ever been to.
I remember years and years ago, somebody wanted me to do business with them, and I wanted to do business with them. They were willing to do business with me, and they wanted me to send them a W-9, and I had no idea what the hell that was, and I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
And now, when I lost the deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
The point I'm making is we were all at that point we were all at beginner at some point. I remember when I was making my first sales calls, and I remember asking one of the people I was selling on the phone, so how'd I do? Years later, I write the cold call king, and become, a master trainer in making and doing sales calls. But, we all started as a beginner. So, where you're at in this stage, where you're green, you always want to stay green, but you're green and you're like, I'm so ready to grow my business. I'm ready to take my business to new heights, to new levels. And, all these experiences that you're experiencing right now are all new and fresh, but in 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, you'll be a veteran. And then people will be coming to you and asking you advice. And you're like, okay, well, this is where I started. This is where it went, blah, 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 blah. And that's it. You just keep going, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. No, consistency is a key. And before this, I was doing solar for a little bit. I was selling solar.
Where at?
I worked with a few different companies. I started with Solfinity, then I went to Sunrun, and there's another company called Power, which is another solar. So that for me, it wasn't all cherries and blossoms. It was a very tough business.
It was a grind.
It was a grind, man. Like that was door to door and getting rejections, one after another.
Was it defeating?
it was very much defeating. It's like getting punched in the face and, you can't do anything.
Uh-huh.
So it was a lot of, just rejection after rejection after rejection. And sometimes even like, days, hours of that. And just the fact that you had to keep going, it's a very big learning lesson for me. Um, and,
It just gears you up for running your own business.
absolutely.
It's like in military. It's boot camp.
Hmm.
The car business is like that. I always tell people, you want to start a business, go sell cars for a while. Go get the crap kicked out of you by your bosses, by the customers, by everything. Go get the crap kicked out of you, and then say, if I can do this, I could definitely run my own show. And then fail, because your first couple of businesses you're gonna shit the bed. You're gonna fail, and it's gonna suck. And then you're gonna sit there and go, God, how do I get out of this? I've got financial problems, I've got legal problems, I've got all these problems. What do I do? Do I just cower up? And I remember when I failed my first business, my dad goes, so what are you doing now? I said, well, I got a job. I thought you said you weren't going to get a job. Yeah, well, I'm never going to run a business again. I can tell you that. It was like 2 years later, I was running another business, and that was 20 years ago. I mean, it just is what it is.
And that's the idea, right? Like never stop. And I'm still learning that, but it's amazing just how much we can learn from each other. And like you mentioned earlier, like you got knowledge, you got and you bring to the table, and I'm gonna learn something from you, and carry that forward. And whereas like it would be impossible for one person to learn everything. It's
You're never going to learn it all, dude.
you're never gonna learn it all. And each time you learn something, there is something new that comes up.
What's actually really interesting about this is, you get into the business. Let's say you got into the business today. Okay. You had a fresh set of ideas. You're from a different generation. You're clearly younger than I am. You have different understandings. The world is, do you see the world completely different than I see the world, just because of the way where we come from, where we were raised? Were you born here, or were you born over there?
No, I was not born here actually, but I came here at a very young age.
Okay.
I had to learn everything
Yes.
from
My
the
wife
bottom.
came. Man, my wife came over. She in '94 from Uzbekistan. They didn't even have toilets. So she comes over here, and she was telling me a story. They just stood in front of the toilet, flushing the toilet, going, "This is really cool."
Wow.
See, how do you think she sees the world?
Right.
Completely different, right?
Completely.
So the point I'm making is that you go into an organization with a completely new, fresh set of ideas, and they could have had 15 tax guys or bookkeeping guys before you, but you're coming in with a completely fresh perspective. If you're talented, you're going to be able to convince them that you're the guy. And if you're really talented, you're going to be able to actually run their books and do a very good job and stay with them for a long time. The point I'm making, though, is that you get the new kid on the block that comes in. You could probably run circles around the old guy, because the old guy is worn out. He's tired. He's not green anymore. He's going to do things the old way.
Yeah.
Politics.
All right. Yeah, and one of the challenges I would say is being the new guy. It is it does get challenging, but one thing I want to say is that the people that the clients that I work with, they understand the struggle that it takes to get to where they're at. So like I said, it's not all cherries and rainbows and stuff.
Mhm.
It's very much like getting kicked and punched and getting down and getting back up again. So I started realizing that because I had to struggle. I had to make my way to here. My parents they when they migrated, it was tough. It was tough being in a new country.
From where?
From India.
That's
India.
awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Do
So
have you gone back? Do you visit?
I have visited back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How is it?
Much different.
Explain that to me.
Yes. Okay. Imagine you step out your house.
Mm-hmm.
You sit in your car and you drive off.
Mm-hmm.
In the U.S., it's semi calm. I mean, you probably hear like a couple horns here and there, and mostly it's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Over there, you're hearing horns.
Mm-hmm.
You're hearing all kinds of other noises, and it's super loud and it's super hectic.
It's just chaos.
It's like chaos. Even New York, like,
Yeah.
you can say is a lot calmer compared to that.
Now, is it constructive chaos? Is it actually functional?
It's super functional, but in a weird way. Like, you would think, how is this country functioning?
Mm-hmm.
With where people are kind of driving like crazy. You'd imagine this whole thing would end up in a big crash.
Mm-hmm.
But they're somehow just, maneuvering their way through, and you've got bikes, and you've got people on
Scooters,
animals and
motorcycles,
all
animals,
animals, like motorcycles, all kinds of different vehicles that, and they're all maneuvering. They're getting to places and they're getting stuff done.
Shopping. How does shopping work out there?
Shopping.
I mean, because I see like they've got the bazaars, and then you walk down the alley, and you've seen the ones where they have like the little things, and then the train comes through, so they move everything up, and then the train comes, and then they bring everything back down to like the markets and stuff. I don't know how real any of that stuff is. Social media is, full of crap.
Social media will definitely make it more glorious and make it more, it is to some extent pretty real. But they've got a system in place, with the trains and all that, like you said. If you've ever watched like movies that are shot there, those are gonna be a little bit more, again, they're gonna be glorified, So bazaars, they're like flea markets that we have here, but just you've got all kinds of other stuff there.
Do they have like, shopping there? Like, we have the Galleria Mall. Do they have that kind of stuff there, or is everything like a flea market? I'm completely ignorant here. I'm intrigued, and so I'm asking you
I can
to
see
cure
that,
my
Quinn.
ignorance.
No, I got you. So it's a mixture of both. So you've got, markets that are outside, and you've got malls that are built like in there. So it's like a downtown, where you have here we don't get to see that a lot, but over there it's like, you got a mall, and then right next to the mall you'll have the little like markets around it. Okay. So they serve all kinds of population.
No, so logistically, financially, I'm thinking, why would somebody want to shop in the mall versus shop in the bazaar? But again, why would somebody want to shop in the bazaar versus the mall? Is it different products? Is it handmade products like craft? Think of like an Etsy versus like a department store? Like,
yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be more like the latter, like you said. It's gonna be, the markets are gonna have more hands-on, like, they've handcrafted stuff, and again, it just comes down to your personal preference. Like, if you prefer the brands, like, they got Nike, they got Adidas, they got all these brands there. So if you prefer more of that, you want to go to the mall then, because they're gonna have more, of the brands. But if you want something that's more like, when it comes to like culture, if you want something cultural, or if something, then you want to support the smaller, businesses, then you would go to the markets and purchase those. So
that's awesome. No, seriously, that is super cool. I'm completely ignorant, like, honestly, when it comes to this. So I was born in England, and I was a military kid. So Lakenheath. So it's a Royal Air Force base out there that works with the U.S. Air Force, and they've got a military base in England. And my parents were stationed over there. So I was born on a military base. Came to the States when I was 1. And, it's funny because I have my British everything, and my house looks all British. And
I was going to say your accent doesn't look British.
No, it's not. And people think I'm from New York. People say, you look like you're from New York. You act like you're from New York. I've never been to New York.
I can see that.
I've never been to New York. California, like my whole life. With the exception of, like, summers, my mom lived in Colorado. So in the summers, I would go to Colorado and visit. And then we shot a couple of scenes for the first movie in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then I did a movie in Atlanta, and that's it. That's all the travel I've ever done in my life. Basically, that's all. That's all I've been. Went to Vegas a couple times. I've never been to Washington, never been to Oregon, never been to Arizona. You'd think that I would have been. No idea.
Yeah, I can imagine you being in New York. You kind of you remind me of somebody that I know that lives out there. So
Every New Yorker. I mean, I make mafia movies, right? And
that's
Frank, you've seen
shout
Frank.
out to High Rise.
Yes, and Frank, Frank plays Franco Bellavia. It's funny, he's from Brooklyn, so he's got the whole Brooklyn accent thing. So, all right. So you were asking me the name John Robert Quinn. Where does it come from?
I
Everyone,
was.
yeah. You're like, why do you go by Quinn? Why do you have Quinn? Okay, so my name is Robert Jones, and I'm a third. So my grandfather is Robert Jones. My dad's Robert Jones, and when I was in my sophomore or junior year of high school, I was starting to get into music, and I was releasing music on cassette because that's what we did back then. That's how old I am.
I have no idea what that is.
You don't know what cassettes are?
I'm joking with you.
Oh, okay. Hey, people don't know what floppy disks are, so we have to people don't. I mean, just new generation.
Well, to be fair, I've seen pictures of floppies. I've never actually had one or held one.
See, there you go. See, we used to. I want to say you could fit 3 megabytes of data. I think is what it was, 3 megabytes on a floppy disk.
Wow.
And so we would take our pictures and we would you can store like 10, 15 pictures on one floppy disk. So by your computer, you always had, multiple canister things full of floppy disks. And, even my first business was all floppies because you didn't have anything else. And that's how long I've been doing this. And, all your documents and everything are stored on a floppy disk, and keep it away from magnets because a magnet will erase the floppies, believe it or not. Yeah. So, I was recording my music on cassette, and I was going under the name Rob Jones. And this is during the whole Napster LiveWire days, starting to get my music online. And I found it extremely hard to market myself. I was 14, 15 at the time, and I couldn't market myself on Napster and LimeWire and BearShare and all the file sharing sites because Rob Jones was just so generic that I couldn't come up with anything.
Right.
I couldn't get any traffic. So I had to come up with a stage name. And so I was thinking like David Lee Roth, John Michael Montgomery. I'm thinking like all the, these rock stars that have the 3 names. So what I did is I took John from Jones, Robert, and then my mom's maiden name, which is Quinn.
Wow.
So it's John Robert Quinn. So it's a family name. So then I called my mom, she lived in Colorado. So I called my mom. I was, 15, 16, maybe younger. And said, Mom, I have a stage name. I'm going to be a rock star. I'm just a kid. I'm playing the guitar in a bedroom, just a kid. And she goes, oh, that's great, dear. What's your stage name? I said, John Robert Quinn. And she goes, that name sounds really familiar. She goes, I have to ask Mom. So I asked Grandma who John Robert Quinn was because she remembers a John Robert Quinn somewhere in the family. Weird. So she calls Grandma, and Grandma goes, oh, you're, I think it's my grandma's cousin was John Robert Quinn. And so they went out to the grave there, and I think Casper, Wyoming, or wherever the grave was, Colorado Springs-ish, I don't know, somewhere out there. And there's a grave plot that says John Robert Quinn, and it's an actual family name. So we were like, that's really cool. I came up with this. So it stuck. So after after high school, I did my first album, and eventually went on tour. And in 2004, I started touring and actually started putting out records and signed a deal with Tower Records, and I was playing all the Tower Record stores, and the music was available in Tower Records, and then started playing the Hard Rocks and casinos and fairs and festivals, and John Robert Quinn kind of became a thing in a sense. But I was still essentially a nobody, just a West Coast guy playing music. And then I got invited to do a TV show in 2005, maybe 2006. And there was a guy there. I was managing a local band here called Maven, and the guitar player's name was he went by Chad Kern. And I was doing a guitar solo in this TV show, and he yells out, Quinn, in the middle of the show. And that night I had to, after the performance, it was live on television. So what was funny is the club that I was playing at that night apparently had been watching. They had my performance on their TV, not knowing that I was playing that night. So after the performance, it's airing live. I load everything back into my car. I go to the next venue, which is my next show that night, and I walk in and they look at the TV. They look at me. They look at the TV, and they were like, "Quinn." And that's really where it became. And so everyone at that point started calling me Quinn. And then all the music venues and even my wedding invitations, my wife calls me Quinn, family calls me it's Quinn. That became my name, and that's where it happened.
So is that your legal name now, or what?
No, Robert Jones. John Robert Quinn is an intellectual property protected through trademark.
Got it.
Yeah. So we own the trademark for John Robert Quinn Television. It's a licensed trademark, which is JRQ TV. That's the parent of our company, JRQ TV Media Group. And so all the movies, all the music, I've written 40 books. We built radio shows. I got #1 FM radio in 2016. All the stuff that we've done, we built shows in Seattle, Denver, Miami, and Sacramento. And all the stuff that we've done has always been under John Robert Quinn. And every now and again, I see one of those old cassettes floating around out there. People still have them, which is really weird to me. There were a lot of them. What I'd do is I'd go, to Reno and I would leave them in the cases at the music stores on consignment. And then I go to Tahoe and do the same. I go to Los Angeles, do the same. So I've got all these cassettes from Rob Jones, but every one of those cassette covers were all hand drawn. Wow. From 96, 97, my teenage years. I was in high school. So, every now and again I'll see one. But yeah, all those early CDs from the Tower Records and stuff, you see them pop up on eBay. I mean, they're asking like $300 for some of that old music that, like, I never made that kind of money on that stuff.
That is amazing, man. Don't we all wish we had that kind of a story for our names, right?
I was young enough to know that I was going to have a hard time marketing myself as Rob Jones. And the funny thing is people go, well, Robert Jones is a great name. Yeah, David Bowie's name was Robert Jones. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. And David Bowie, same problem. I mean, how many Robert Joneses are in there? There's like 1,000 of them in Sacramento. How are we going to all market ourselves? So John Robert Quinn is my brand. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, very impressive. That's a really good marketing strategy.
Pretty cool, huh?
Pretty cool. Pretty good.
All right. So what type of businesses are you working with your taxes and in bookkeeping?
I am open to all kinds of businesses. I would say the majority of my clients, they are kind of in the real estate and trucking. Those tend to be, the ones that I gravitate towards. But again, like I said, this goes for any business out there. And the reason why real estate is, it's another story. So after I went through college and all that stuff, I figured I should get a real estate license, just for fun, fun giggles. But
I was a lender.
Okay,
I got my mortgage license. I wrote loans for a while.
There you go. So you understand how the industry works.
Yep.
So it's
and sometimes you just want to be a part of something.
You just want to be part of something, right? And it's a huge network. And
yep.
So one thing that I took from that was building good relationships. And that in itself got me thinking, okay, if I've got a good network here, I want to be able to utilize and leverage that. And, so that became my niche. So I started working with the industry because I understood how the industry worked. So that's how, I got into it. But it's open to anybody. It's open to all businesses. I don't, I help all kinds of businesses. So.
Now, are you? I know our family is very, very in tune with the trucking industry.
Yes.
My mom was a truck driver. My stepdad was a truck driver. When we were in college, we'd go to Colorado summers. Colorado, we'd go on some of the runs. Weren't supposed to, but we did. Just hit us in the cab and did our thing. Yeah. But there's a lot of Indians in the trucking industry. Do you gravitate more towards the Indian trucking companies, or are you working with other cultures here in the community as well?
It's funny that you brought that up. So almost, I would say every other relative of mine either owns a trucking business or works for a trucking company. So it's funny, but no, I think we kind of just fell into that. Maybe because back in the country, we did have a lot of logistics and trucking businesses. So maybe that's why when our people traveled here, they were like, "Hey, we know how to do this, right?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's how it kind of ended up being like that.
The
But
Russian culture's like that too. You see them a lot in carpentry and that kind of stuff because over there, when you buy a house, it doesn't come with anything. It's just a shell. There's no kitchen. There's no bathroom. There's no walls. There's no bedrooms. There's nothing. They have to build everything out. So, and also in Uzbekistan, if you have a child and you pay your taxes and you have a job and an education, they give you a house. And again, it's just a shell. You have to build everything. So when the Slavic community moved over here, that's what they knew how to do. So that's why they own all the carpentry businesses in town.
Makes sense.
But with your clients though, are you working with more Indian companies, or are you working with other cultures as well here in the
Oh
community?
no, I am open to all cultures. Like I said, if you're in the business and you need help, I'm here.
And you
So
understand how it works.
I understand how it works. It just happens to be that most of them are Indian, but I'm open to all. So
That's super cool. Anything that you want to add? What's your passion outside of work?
you brought up music earlier. That is
Yes.
also one of my passions.
Okay.
I love playing the guitar.
Okay, so you're a guitar guy.
I am a guitar guy.
Are you familiar with different products and so forth?
So my first ever guitar was the one I built in a class called wood shop in high school.
No way.
It took me a whole year,
No way.
but I built it from scratch.
Acoustic or electric?
It was electric and it was a Strat.
Dude, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. No, seriously, I'm so jealous. So, yeah, my high school.
We should jam sometime.
Oh, we should. Have you seen me play?
I've heard your stuff on the computer, but I haven't seen you play live.
Got it. Okay. So, my high school was so stupid. They were so dumb. I had poor grades, dude. I had poor grades. I was not a good kid in school. I didn't bring a backpack to school. I brought my guitar every day.
As a teacher, I would be impressed.
Why wouldn't they put me in a music class? They just
Right.
let me fail out of high school. They never put me in a music class.
That is disappointing.
They're stupid. Just stupid. So when I graduate high school, I want to be a rock star, but I fail out of school. Why wouldn't you put me in a music class? Teach me math. Teach me how to understand the instrument. I mean, I did well. I put 2 dozen albums out. I toured, and I've done well with my music career. Yes. But, you're talking about in high school, you built your first guitar in high school. I'm thinking, why wouldn't they have had me do that?
I think that your school was not lucky enough to have the teacher that we had. He actually donated about $1 million of his money that he earned from his business back into this wood shop, and it was all just done by one guy. The school didn't even put any money into it. It was just
I just don't
one guy.
understand why. I'm jealous that you were able to do that. And here's why. In my career, and I'm going back to what you're saying here, I'm not stealing the show. In my career, it's so funny because we were just recording with a guy yesterday who's actually also a tax guy, day before yesterday, at BBB, and he is a guitar player, and we spoke for guitars for 35 minutes. We talked about guitars and music. But in my career, I've had probably, without exaggerating, 150 guitars in my career.
Jesus.
So from Strats, Les Pauls, to Paul Reed Smiths, to the Satriani models, to Ibanez RGs, to Music Man. I mean, just the list goes on. Acoustics, wow. Martin, Mitchell guitars, PV guitars, Fenders, Epiphones, Gibsons. I've had so many guitars over the years, touring and putting out records. And you always want a different sound, a different feel, a different show you're building, whatever. And I'm between guitars. for a lot of reasons. Partly because I just invested like everything into this magazine and sold everything to put it into the magazine, which is a good problem. But I've been shopping, and I've been shopping for months for my next guitar, and I don't want something that looks and feels like everything else out there. I'm really sick of the off-the-shelf guitar. I've had the Paul Reed Smiths. I've done it. I know what they feel like. I know what they sound like. I know what they're capable of. Les Pauls. I love what Gibson and Epiphone are doing right now. They've got some great guitars.
But you want to add some, Quinness in there.
I want something that's mine.
Right.
And I found a company that will sell you the kits, and you can build your guitars. Now everything's already cut, and it just snaps together. And I've built lots of guitars over the years. I built some replicas of things, but I've never like cut the wood and done all that. I've bought the parts and the bodies, and my old Strats when I toured, I built a lot of those. I built some really neat Satriani guitars, the chrome ones, and had a guy in Las Vegas that would chrome them for me and then send them back, and we'd build them, and I signed them and send them off. But this new guitar project that I'm working on, I literally discovered this last night, and it's
Wait, real quick. Do you have a guitar business?
No.
I think you should.
Probably should. We used to have a skateboard company too. We used to manufacture skateboards, and I had a motorcycle business for 18 years.
Look at you, man.
Yeah, we've done all kinds of stuff.
Guitars, motorcycles.
I was a Ferrari parts broker too, in the late 2000s. I was a parts broker for Ferrari. Long story. Anyway, but I think the next guitar I'm going to end up building, and I think it's going to be mine. And so when you're saying that was the first guitar you built, I'm just thinking to myself, like, do you still have it?
I do. I did have the opportunity to sell it and make some bucks off of it while I was still in high school, but I kept it. I was, thinking in terms of, I was like, I want to learn it.
How does it play?
It plays really well, actually. All the electronics are still working. I can, plug it into my amp and it sounds great. I kept it well maintained, and
I'm so jealous. Like, I'm completely floored right now, and that is just so cool. And please never get rid of it. You're gonna regret it.
I won't. That was my channel to get into music and learn everything about that. So,
You play.
I do play.
What's your inspiration? What's the style of music that you play, and who's your inspiration?
I enjoy blues music.
Okay.
I love just riffing out,
Are you following like the whole Joe Bonamassa thing? Or are you like old school blues?
Yeah, old school blues.
Robert Cray's coming to town next month.
Oh.
If you're familiar with Robert Cray.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's coming to town. Have you recorded it all? Have you done anything with it?
I've attempted a recording. I'm not as good as you are, but I've had a couple of little riffs that I recorded and kind of threw them into a song, and it didn't go anywhere, but I still have it saved. So if you want to check it out, I can show it to you. You're kind of the expert with that, but I've recorded a few things, and again, they're just sitting on my laptop.
So you're
and this was a long time ago. This was like, right when I graduated from high school.
Oh, no. I get it. And so with your music, I mean, are you practicing? Do you play regularly? Do you just sit down and it's just a way for you to relax?
Nowadays, it's a way for me to relax. So after, a long day at work, I would kind of, I also have acoustic, so I will kind of play some chords.
Okay.
Just for me to
Do you want my
relax.
advice?
Sure, go ahead.
Never turn it into a business.
Got it.
Dead serious. It'll ruin it for you. If you're doing it for that reason, but you come home, you strum on the guitar, you enjoy it. The moment that you start to write and produce and record, it just becomes more work. And so I can go years without playing or owning a guitar because you just burn out and you just don't have that fire in you anymore because it's not a way for you to relax.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then, I buy a new guitar. What do I do when I buy a new guitar? You get comfortable with it.
Uh-huh.
And then you're like, oh, look at this new scale. All right, we got to start. And then you open up the laptop and then you're like, oh, crap, I got to buy a DI box. All right, so I got a DI box. We need better cables. Got to buy better cables. All right, I need this. All right, okay, cool. All right, I need a. And now you're sitting there and you're grinding and you're stressing over producing this content. And then after you produce the song, Now you need album art. So you got to go do a photo shoot. Then you got to get your licensing. And then you got to do your distribution. Then you got to do your marketing.
And now you lose that passion that you had because you have all these things
work.
involved. Yeah.
It's just
definitely.
work.
So that's good advice.
The fact that you still have the original guitar, dude, that is so amazing.
Appreciate
That's
it.
like the coolest thing I've actually ever heard in my life. That is like the coolest thing that you built this thing. You know who else built their first guitar and still has it? Brian May.
Yeah.
Queen. Still the same guitar.
Oh, yeah.
You know what they built it out of? The fireplace mantle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that is crazy.
No, it's incredible, dude. Cool. Yes,
right.
we'll play some music one of these days. I think I'm gonna end up building this guitar though. I'm gonna buy that kit and sit on my patio and stain it and all that stuff because it's different than going and writing an album.
Yeah, you're gonna take me back to my high school days when you show me that.
And I hope that if it, you know what? Here's the thing: if it plays and looks like crap, so what? It's mine. I love it. All right. AntelopeBookkeeping.com. AntelopeBookkeeping.com. 916-847-4299. 916-847-4299. Vic, thank you so much, man.
It was
thank
a
you
pleasure.
so much. Absolutely. And you're welcome to come by anytime and record anytime that you want. And if you want to play in any of my movies, you just let me know and we'll find a role for you. It's actually really good marketing, believe it or not, to just be a part of it.
It's an amazing way to market.
You know, it really is. What's really cool about the scenes is, we put you in a scene or 2 or 5 or a whole movie. It's up to you. You're working for free, but it's marketing. We'll give you a gold watch at the end, and
oh boy.
And you come in, you play this role, this character, and you get into the story, into the elements. And when your scenes are done, we put them up on YouTube. You can download them off of YouTube and you put them on your social media. And then people are looking at like, hold on a minute. You acting now? And now it's getting shared and liked and commented, and people that you would have never spoken to about what you do. But then also the circle that we've got. So all the social media that we're doing, and then you're meeting with the other people. What do you do? Everyone in the movie, everybody in our movies, with the exception of our big actors that we hire specifically for name branding, everyone is a local business owner in our movies.
That's crazy. I was gonna ask who decides the character or role that they play.
You do. Yeah, you do. And so you pick your name, you pick what character or what type of character you want, and then we write that in. And so, like Frank, what's funny is when we were putting the first movie together, we had no idea what we had. Honestly, we had no idea if it was going to go anywhere. We didn't really know what we were doing. I was taking online directing classes, trying to figure out how to do it. And there was like 3 or 4 revisions of the first movie before the one that actually got bought. And, we sat down with Frank and said, what do you want to play? He goes, I want to play a New Yorker. I want to play a mobster. And I said, what do you want your stage name to be? And he goes, God, I don't know. And so he thinks about it and he goes, when I was a kid, my sister, when I would sing around the house, my sister said that one day I'm going to be famous and my name's going to be Franco Bellavia. And I said, wow, that's really cool. Are you going to tell your sister that, that your name's going to be Franco Bellavia in this movie? He goes, she passed away a long, long time ago. And I go, well, that has to be your name now. And so it's a legacy thing.
That's a legacy for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So she predicted it, and it's a part that it became his character. And now he's seen, there's the freaking movies are on television, like they're on TV, cable TV. So, I don't even know how many people have watched the movies because they're on TV, So, his character, his little sister is the one who named him, So, every single one of these people, when they come along, and they if they want to be in a bigger role, a smaller role, Jessica Claveria from Blinds of Sacramento, that's our sponsor for the show. She came on as Valentina Bullieri. I came up with, but Valentina, her son's name is Valentino. So then, the other character that would play her brother is Angelino, and then her daughter's name is Angelina. So the point I'm making is everyone has picked their where they want the story to go, and we just kind of figure out how to make it work for everybody. And it's very loose. It's very free. The movies make zero money. They cost us money. They cost us money every year to do everything that we're doing. They've really just become tax write-offs, tax shelters, because we've made no money on these things. And we've spent, I think we're probably 100,000 deep into these movies now. We've never made a penny. So, I mean, I can't say we haven't made a penny. We've made like $9. I mean,
Well,
honestly though.
Well, there's your revenue right there.
No,
right?
seriously. But they become tax shelters at this point. Now, intellectual property is worth a lot of money. The movies themselves are worth a lot of money. If you were to value them with the actors that we've got and the traffic that they're getting and the distribution, the movies are worth, I think ChatGPT estimated them somewhere around $2 million a piece for the movie, the intellectual property value.
Wow.
But they're I mean, they've made no money. And that's the art.
That is the art.
That's the art. The music career is the same
music.
thing. The music, we've made, in 25 years, I've made probably 50 grand on the music in 25 years. But when you look at it over, what the intellectual property is actually worth because of everything that went into it, it's probably worth 10 times that, $500,000.
Easily. And it's about the passion that you put in, right?
It's the heart. It's the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then someday, I'm not going to be on this planet anymore. And my goal was to just donate the entire estate to probably my high school. And I don't know, or some music something somewhere. Just put John Robert Quinn building, music hall or something.
You should have them build a wood shop class so they can
build guitars. Actually, what I wanted to do was at the end when all of my old whatever guitars I have left would just be donated straight to the school.
There you go.
That's also part of my plan. Yeah. So not there yet though. Hopefully.
You're still young.
Yeah, but you never know on the way home. You never know if you're gonna get T-boned by a helicopter falling out of the sky.
You never
or something.
know. Oh my God.
Crazy stuff. Hey, thank you so much for coming on, my friend. Absolutely. And thank you guys so much for listening. Impact and Influence Radio right here on iHeart. And we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.